We are now live. So, hello everyone. This is a fine Wednesday evening to be talking about Yuri on Ice, and I decided why not invite the person who is the biggest fan of Yuri on Ice that I know, which is myself. So I had to find the second person who
Oh my god, you're
loved
so
Yuri on
right.
Ice, which is my fellow friend here, kirbo.turbo. So welcome back.
Hello, I'm back. Round three. This start. Yeah, round three.
Round 3, because we did a My Hero video. We've done
Yep.
what was the other one that we did?
Fandom. We did
Fandom.
fandom.
Yeah, we did fandom, and this will be mark the third one. And what a
Oh my
topic!
god.
Yuri on Ice,
Oh my
probably one of
god.
the
Ugh.
most peculiar anime in terms of like the public's reception to it. Because at first it was beloved, then a lot of negativity because it became overrated for some reason because it's popular, and now people have kind of forgotten it because there's been no news, which
Ugh.
that movie, huh?
Oh yeah, that movie. Huh. Yeah. No. I love. First of all, I love talking about Yuri on Ice.
Mhm.
I think it's such an important like show, and I think it's really like well done, and like the animation's really pretty, and like how they animate like them like actually figure skating, like just talking about like the figure skating, like it's
Uh-oh, I think for a sec.
like so well done.
Yep.
Anyway,
Sorry, for a sec you cut out, so you may wanna repeat that.
everything I'm just saying, everything is so well done in this
Yep.
show that I love it so much, and the fact that like Mappa has done us the fandom so dirty is so fucking rude.
Wait, is it because of that they won't release the movie?
Yeah, oh my god, how did you know? Yeah, it's absolutely because they won't release the movie.
Like, what
You're
you
so
were
right.
like, based on what you were telling me, I mean, we could be talking about the show, but let's dive right into the drama first. Let's get this out of the way. So according to what you've told me and what I've seen, it seems like Yuri on Ice is what really helped Mappa get off the ground and really make a
Yeah.
name for themselves. Is that correct?
Mhm. Yeah. So, without getting into too much, basically Yuri on Ice was like it's like last saving throw, basically. And this anime like really like took it map up basically from going bankrupt. And now they're putting out shows like, they do Attack on Titan, they did Chainsaw Man, they're doing all these like big like manga anime adaptations, but like you're forgetting about the one property that kept you from going bankrupt in 2016.
Mhm.
It's so baffling, and like we the last we heard about this, like actually got something new about this movie, was I think 2020 when the trailer dropped. I'm pretty positive it dropped in 20, yeah, it dropped in 2020, November 27th 2020. um but that's the last thing we ever got about anything, and like we've been waiting for this movie now for like for since 2016, basically, when the show was airing. But now you have like this whole slew of new fans that are coming from the woodworks, like, hey, like, where's like now we're getting more pressure, and 3 years later after the trailer we still have nothing.
Mhm. And so 3 years. So
Hmm.
3 years for since the release of the trailer, and yet there's been no news.
Right, and any news update we do get, it's we're still in production, like, yay. But I'm sure it's really frustrating for like the creators of of the movie and the show, and like the animators of this, because like it's such an important like show to a lot of people.
Mhm. I see.
And so like keeping like not even like telling us like, hey, this film is canceled, like, yeah, just straight up be honest like at this point, because like keeping it from us doesn't do anybody any justice, because you're keeping the creators in limbo, you're keeping your fans in limbo, and like there's just a lot of like unknowing.
Mhm. I see. And so you would say it's more of a, because I'm new to this, like, Yuri on Ice, I watched this 2 years ago, and I
Uh-huh.
so I'm not really that involved in terms of what's been going on with, say, the fandom and what like the creators. So you're saying like basically the movie is taking a while because there's something going on with MAPPA and like the higher ups that are dictating basically like
That
when the
that's
director and
what
when the animators are
Yeah,
able to release it.
that's what the rumor is. Like, yet again,
Yeah.
as a fan, we don't know for sure.
Hmm.
But the rumor is that Mappa or someone in like the creative higher up team is keeping it from being released, or like any news about it from being released.
I see. And so I would say like and so you I mean I talked to you about this a little bit, but so you believe that they're they should be super far into production if they were able to release a trailer, correct?
Yeah, no, they should be, because usually if we think about like a normal animated movie, usually you have I'll use like a current example, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie is coming out in August. We're finally getting trailer drops. It is March. So we have what, like a 4 month time gap, and like like as you know, you're a film major, like if you
Mhm.
have that much for a trailer, you should have a majority of your movie done, animated or not. Will you use everything from the trailer in the movie? Probably not, but that's the point of, but like usually in animated movies, like you'll use what you have in the trailer in the like you might animate like a few like little scenes to like throw people off like what your actually the plot is actually or whatever. But it should be mostly done, if not completely done.
Mhm.
But yet again, it's all speculation.
Yeah. And sorry. So overall, like would you say like do you okay, here's a question I have for you. Do you think that there will be news sometime this year, if at all?
I that's a really like big question. Do I hope there's news? Absolutely. I always want to see
There's
news on
hopium.
like
There's hopium here.
there's hope. Yeah, there's hopium here. I always hope for like good news like about this movie, because once again, like it's such a like an important like show and like stuff and like things about that. Um, but do I think we're actually gonna get anything? Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause, like, what is it? Like, cause like and it to me, it's, like, the funniest thing. Cause like, MAPPA's releasing all of these like, they're the studio that everyone's like, "You need to chill with your projects, cause 'cause they're releasing so much." Like, they did what? They took over Attack on Titan to do their final season, right? They
Right.
did, Chainsaw Man, which is the big one, right?
Right.
Um,
They're doing other
they're
ones.
doing One Punch Man season 3, which is
Oh,
gonna
that's
be
right. I
super
heard
tough
about
for
that.
them. And they also did Zombieland Saga, and, what was the other one they did?
They're currently doing they did JJK, they're doing
JJK?
JJK season 2.
Yep,
They're doing Vinland Saga. They did Attack on Titan. Like all of these like Remain, they did Remain. If you're a little a sports anime watcher like I am, they did a lot of sports anime
yep.
recently. They've done so many, and they did JJK Zero, like the movie and stuff like that. And like all of these different things. But like we have we have nothing. We have nothing
Yeah,
in
and I
terms
wanna
of
say I wanna say that Vinland Saga season 2 was, like I mean, it's coming out now. Like, you have to, like, think that
Mhm.
production started 2 years ago. So
Mhm.
it's weird how Vinland Saga got season 2 pumped out and just set out, while Yuri on Ice has been in production, active production for so long, and we have yet to see another trailer or announcement date, you know? Or even like a
Mhm.
release date, you know?
Mhm.
Like they could have done something where it's like Invincible, as much as people were kind of like upset by that, where they're like, it's gonna come late 2023. You know, they're not specifying it, which goes to show maybe they want to take time with it, but at least they're giving you something. I don't get
Mhm.
that from Mappa, according to what you've been sharing with me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no. It
Mm.
it 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 truly is something, and like, like Yuri on Ice, like it was an original work. Like it wasn't based off like a manga or anything, or like any kind of story. It was like an original work. that really helped put MAPPA on the map in terms of like, yes, this is our stand. And now they're doing all these big name like anime adaptate or manga adaptations, and so got nothing.
Got nothing. Yeah.
got zero things.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like, I mean, we've joked about it. Like, what was it? 3 years ago? Like, yeah, it was 3 years ago, right? When we teased
Yeah.
you about it, when you were
Oh my
like,
god. Yeah.
we're like, damn, I guess like all these anime are gonna get adaptations before the Yuri and
And
Ice movie comes
and
out,
what's
and I
sad
was
is you
right.
guys were right. Yeah,
Yeah,
you were
that's
right.
yeah, which is rough. I mean, like, I chose the picture right now. I
Oh,
pulled it because I wanted to look, did some research on the movie, and this is like the frame for it, right? Victor like
yeah.
looking out, right?
Mhm.
Like, I looked at that and I'm like, oh, sick. When did like they release it? And I'm like, oh, that's been a while, huh?
Yeah, it has. You're so right.
So
It,
yeah, like, what is your okay? How about this? Like, let's wrap up the final thoughts on like the Mappa drama because I really want to get into the show. So, what is one thing that you hope, like, if Mappa is listening right now? I know we're kind of trash talking you, Mappa, and I apologize. But if you're really listening, well, if they were listening to this, which is very low, but it's still a possibility, what would you have to say to
mhm.
Mappa?
I would like to say, as I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for Yuri on Ice, Yuri on Ice, fun fact, won Anime of the Year in 2017 for 2016 like animes. It won Best Boy, Best Opening, Best Ending, Best Animation, and Best Couple, and Most Heartwarming Scene. It won all of these things in 2017. Like there is a fan base for it, and there is like all of these like this love for the show and like the characters. If honestly, if you're not gonna like give it the love it deserves, give it to another studio and let someone else do it because the fans have waited since 2017 for this movie to come out since it was announced in 2017. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that because that's kind of fucked up that you won't give me what I want.
Hashtag release the Yuri cut.
Hashtag release the Yuri cut. Uh,
Yeah. But anyways, we talked about the drama. Mappa, you guys have to get it together. Come on. We're waiting. We've been waiting for a long time. Or I haven't been waiting. I hardly been waiting. Kirbo.turbo has been waiting a while.
I have
So
been waiting for so long.
so
I'm suffering.
so come on. At least all we need is just a release date. And it doesn't have to be specific, just say late 2024. That would be something.
Oh my god, if it was 2024, I would cry.
At
So
least
I
you're
think it's
getting
gonna be
it though.
2024 now.
At least you're getting it though. You want confirmation that we're at least getting it. That's
No,
uh,
it would be tears of joy. It wouldn't be like sadness. It would
oh,
be tears
okay.
of joy that I finally got a confirmation date.
Yeah. So anyways, changing the subject right now. Let's get right into the show, Yuri on Ice, because we did talk about the drama. We did talk about how the movie has yet to come out. But why? Why are we anticipating this movie? Well, of course, it has to do with the great reception. To your point, how it won awards, how Yuri on Ice created this phenomenon with so many different fans. Um, Care to elaborate on sort of your thoughts on the show?
Oh my god. Oh, where do I begin with this show? I okay, so fun fact about me, um, is that I stopped watching anime like right when the show was coming out, so I never watched it like it being released. But my sibling did, but I didn't. So when when the pandemic hit and I was at home, I was like, oh, Hannah told me I should watch this. I'll pick it up, Um, Hannah's my sibling. And I picked it up and I finished it in one night. I
One night.
finished it all in one night because it's only 12 episodes. So if you're having doubts about finishing it, it's only 12 episodes. So you should finish it. Um, but I think the show is so well done. Like it has a lot of heart. All the characters are really good. Like it's not just about it's not about Yuri and Victor. It's about Yuri and his whole thing about being like figure skating and like how he's dealing with like the shame and like the anxiety of it, and like he's like the only male figure, and this he's the only male figure skater in Japan that represents his country, and so like there's a lot of like drama and like a lot of anxiety with that in his character. um and also it's just a really funny show. Like I genuinely think that this is one of the funniest animes I've seen in a while.
Oh, the
I just
humor is on point. It was so funny. I
Yeah,
still think, like,
it's so funny. And
the
I don't know
picture
if
scene with Yuri was so funny when he was, like,
yeah, I don't
dancing.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you've watched it in the dub, but I'm a filthy dub watcher. We all know this. Oh my god, I know. But I think the dub is so well done, and like everyone who voices like a character in the show is just so well done. Um I have never seen it in sub, so I cannot tell you what it's like in sub. Yet again,
You didn't
I
watch
cannot.
it in sub?
I didn't watch it in sub. I know. No, that's not true. I did watch. I don't know what episode. I did watch one episode in the sub and the dub because it was that good, but I don't remember which one it was. Anyway, I did watch one. I've I watched one episode in both sub and dub because I had to hear it. But that's it. I did not watch the rest of them in the sub. I only watched it in dub. But I it's just such a good show. Like it has heart, it has like everything you want. It's a sport anime and I love sport animes. Uh, um but yeah, no, I think it's a great show.
So you think it's a great show? I mean, one of the things I took away from it, when I was watching it, is the fact that it was so unique. Because I've watched, like, originally when I watched it, I didn't watch much. This was 2 years ago. I wasn't too much into anime. The only things I've seen were probably like shonen and all the mainstream stuff. I
Mhm.
was getting more into slice of life, but this was, I would say, my first sports anime, even before Haikyuu. And so I
Mhm.
watched it and I thought, you know, the fact that they took ice skating and really were able to elevate it to a new level, both visually in terms of well, it's like, and everything that goes into the production of an anime, the musical score, the visuals, the like the motion blurs,
Mhm.
everything that accumulates together to give you that effect of they're actually ice skating. And I think you even mentioned to me that, I don't know why I said motion blur, but they what they do is they basically look at real life ice skaters and try and
Mhm.
draw their movements to be almost
Yeah.
one for one, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's really impressive how they did like the animation for it, like how they did it, like they got like real ice skaters to provide the choreography for a lot of the like different like the different like figure skaters that you see. So they actually got like real ice skaters to like do that, and I think that's so fucking rad because like you're not only incorporating like like the story of like these two guys and whatever, but you're also incorporating like real life aspects to it. And a lot of sports animes are pretty far-fetched. I mean, I'm not looking at you, Blue Lock, but I'm looking at you. uh, but a lot of them are kind of far-fetched, but like this one, it took like real life application, and I think that's so fucking cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's also what I also appreciate about it, it's like it's a competition, but when you look at other competitors, it's not like they're trying to tear each other down. Blue
Hmm.
lock, if we're gonna slander. Brandon's gonna kill us, you know
Slander.
that.
It's fine. He'll be fine. He'll live with it.
But just like looking at this through the lens of they're competitors, but they're just trying to do their best. And if they don't win, they're just gonna keep bouncing back and even support their opponents, because all they
Hmm.
want is just to see good ice skating or be good ice, like perform great ice skating.
Hmm.
And so when I was watching it, one of the competitors, I forgot where he was from. He was like one of the quote unquote younger people. That
Hmm.
was Yuri's competitor. He went to Yuri's home and was part of his cheer squad. And I'm like, that's sick. Like he lost to Yuri, he lost the qualifying round, but he's still there going to be supporting Yuri, you know? Like
Hmm.
moments like that, I'm like, normal sports anime doesn't do that. It's like about tearing each other down or trying to be the best, even if it breaks you. And this is more, sure, you're gonna hurt yourself. Yeah, you're gonna push yourself. It is very emotional, but again, it's a healthy competition, and everyone's just there to either see or be the success on the rink. So
Mhm. I
it
also
yeah,
really like the music. So all of the songs, 24 of the songs were originals. Um, and the music is just I don't. You can go to Spotify. You can look up the music. It's so fantastic. I think it's like one of the best soundtracks I've ever listened to because it's so diverse. All of the music is so diverse, even for the different like choreography pieces. All the like figure skating pieces. All of the music is so diverse to fit that character. So like Yuri's. Um, which is Yuri on Ice. It's such a good soundtrack and
it's
like
so
History
good.
Makers.
It's
Oh
so
my god,
good.
History. The opening song, History Maker, is an iconic opening song. History Maker is just so good. Oh god, go listen to History Maker if you've never listened to it before. It is such a pump up song. Oh my god.
It's like, I mean, like to me, one of the things that motivates me to like watch a show and give it a shot is the opening. It
Mhm.
took one glance at the opening, one glance, and I'm like, all right, I'm
Mhm.
sold. I'm sold. I'm along for the
Yeah.
ride.
Yeah, no, the music is so good, God, and like the animation for the opening song is so good. Also, a lot of people still use like the Yuri on Ice soundtrack in like figure skating. Like people still use it in figure skating. A lot of figure skaters have used some Yuri on Ice soundtracks, and like anime is becoming more increasingly popular. So like you see a lot more anime songs in different like I love figure skating. I could talk about figure skating forever. Um, but I think because I watch a lot of figure skating, so like a lot of people's like freeze are usually like some of them due to like I saw one from Attack on Titan. A lot of people do it from like Yuri on Ice because like it's right there, and it's like it's such a good show. God, the music is so good. I love the music so much. Go listen to the music. Go listen to the
Yeah.
soundtrack. It's great.
And I also like they have different formations too and like patterns. Like this is like it is a sport, right? There's like a
Mhm.
lot of different things you have to memorize. It's very stressful. And it's like an art form,
It
where
is an art. Yeah.
they'll tell you to be like like what is it? There's a term for it, like something love, where it's more dramatic love, right? I'm
Mhm.
blanking on what they say specifically because
I don't remember.
I'm dumb, but it's like more dramatic emotional love to more romantic, like, to like more like upset. Like I remember there's one figure skater in Yuri on Ice where he was like a witch. Um that was like his expression because he lost, I guess, the love of his life to like someone else.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
him expressing that.
Yes, Georgie. I know exactly who you're talking
Georgie.
about.
I love
Georgie.
him. I feel bad for him because like they're like the two Russian women that was with Yurio were kind of like making fun of him because he was bawling on the. But I'm like, I feel so bad for him. Like he's like such a tragic character because he's just trying
Yeah.
his best and he's doing pretty well, but like his poor heart. Like I feel for him, and it was definitely shown and like definitely highlighted through his choreography, like for
Mhm.
sure. But yeah, like yeah, the music to me is great. I also like when they talk about like tempo and stuff and like more logistics.
Mhm.
And to me, I mean, it's not really a fault of Yuri on Ice or just anything for that matter. I wouldn't even consider it a fault. It's just an observation where when you're not an expert in these fields, like I'm gonna be completely honest. I know jack poop about ice skating.
Mhm.
I don't know how the competitions run. I don't know how people are able to score points, and I don't know how to pick a winner out of like 5 skaters, right?
Yeah.
So, for me watching it, it really helps that they're kind of explaining the emotions and like explaining when something is good cuz I got the same thing from I think it was Your Lie in April because Your Lie in April is music based. So when there was like a good performance, they had to describe why it was perfect. Yuri on Ice does the same thing where they describe what was done well. And they also compare it like, oh, they have to do flips. Oh, if they slip and mess up, that deducts points. But if they do something more difficult, you get more points to make that up, right? So I can
Mhm.
start to get the basics based on what they're describing and also like how the characters are reacting, and I really appreciated that.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I think in terms of like yet again being realistic with like the expectations of the sport is done so wonderfully and so beautifully that it really adds to the show cuz like yeah, like did I care about I love figure skating like before the show. I'm going to be honest. I love figure skating before I saw the show because I think it's so first of all, it's so difficult. It's so hard. But and then like
Mhm.
you're balancing on these like tiny like blades of steel. You're throwing your body in the air like it's so hard, but like the show like really like it 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 felt like realistic. Like it didn't feel like it was like, it was far-fetched or anything, and like it really added to that. And I think a lot of people really came around to the sport of figure skating because of this show, because like, it's such a lovely sport, and it's so cool to see because like like figure skating's powerful. Like you have to be fucking strong to
Oh,
figure
oh,
skate.
absolutely. Like, have you ever been skating before?
No, and I refuse to because I will be the wobbliest bitch out there.
Yeah, so I've been skating twice in my youth, and let me just say, both times I've fallen on my butt.
Nice.
Like, it is, and this isn't figure skating, this is just me skating for fun.
Yeah.
I had such a difficult time just staying up straight. And the fact that these fools are like jumping up and spinning like 4 times, like crouching down, well, like spinning around like at least tens of times. It's like for me watching that, I'm like, I personally know how hard it is just to skate, and for them to have this performance, it looks easier than done because of how good they are. And I think that's one of the great parts about Yuri and Ice is that it shows that although they are so good, a lot of the times they'll mess up 1 or 2 steps because of the difficulty of the performance, right? Like, it's
Mhm.
just bound to happen. Plus, you also have the pressures, which I also appreciated, which I wanna know your thoughts on that, which is, the your one of my standout scenes, I loved it in Puss in Boots, the new one that came out, The Last Wish. But I didn't realize Yuri on Ice had it until I watched it fairly recently, and that's the panic scene where
Which one?
Yuri was in the garage and he was crying, and Victor was trying to got him into the garage because he needed to isolate him away from everyone else.
Yes. Yes, yes,
And
yes,
it's just
yes.
sort of that pressure. You don't really get that with sports anime,
Mhm.
because you'll maybe get that for an episode or two, but it's not really felt. It's not caressed, if you know what I mean. Like you need to sort of take the time to kind of let the emotions run so you feel it enough so that it has the emotional impact you want later on instead of just rushing through the emotions, you know? And I think Yuri on Ice
Mhm.
does that very well, where they really like show that Yuri is constantly under pressure. He's not getting enough sleep because of how stressed he is, right? And all these expectations of Victor may no longer be his coach. He may drag down Victor's reputation, right? And all these
Mhm.
things are going through his head, and you really get to feel um, that there are so many personal stakes attached, not just physical ones, in these competitions that I think go without saying when it comes to an Olympic sport, but it's definitely highlighted in this show. And a lot of, I would say, sports anime don't really cover it as heavily as Yuri on Ice does.
Mhm. Even in episode 1 when he's in the bathroom before Yurio like busts down the door,
Yeah.
like he has that moment of panic and like that moment of like dread because like he didn't do well, and like, as an athlete, like even talk about athletics for a second, like as an athlete, you always want to do your best, and that's like the whole goal is like to win. Basically, you want to be first place, you want to be the winner. But for Yuri, like, his entire country is like counting on him, and like, there's a lot of like things about it. And so like when he does go home, he talks about like how he like puts on weight and stuff like that. Like there is a level of like Yuri feeling like a real person, because like yeah, like all that stress would take a toll on your like mental health and your well-being and stuff like that. But like I think that like doing like him like doing it for himself as he slowly comes around to him being like, yeah, I'm confident, like I can do this, like whatever, like I'm not doing it for anybody else. um I think it's so vastly important because yet again in athletics, like especially with young people, like kids and stuff like that, young people that do athletics, it's so important because like yeah, like it's gonna suck. It might suck for a little bit, but the knowing of like if you're doing it because you enjoy it, it's gonna make it 1,000 times better than you doing it for someone else. Like you have to enjoy what you're doing, or you're gonna hate it.
Yeah. And it's I don't know, to me it just makes everything seem more impressive from the athlete's part because of like
Mhm.
how much takes. Like even like although I will say it was kind of weird how close that brother and sister pair were of the ice skaters.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that, but the only thing I will say about that though is at least you actually felt that there was some personal stakes to them attached. And I
Mhm.
did kind of appreciate that where it's more him not wanting to let go of his sister because he's scared of what may happen to her and him
Mhm.
if they would break apart, if they would change their relationship forever. And although it is sus, I did appreciate the fact that they actually kind of explored, the ideas of, like your loved ones, your people close to you. Like you eventually sometimes have to say goodbye to them and change the way that your lives like impact each other's. And
Mhm.
that is a motivator. And for you to overcome your issues is just to learn to sort of be better for the other person's sake.
Mhm.
So yeah, we'll ignore everything else about that because
Yeah.
let's be
Perfect.
honest, that doesn't need to be addressed. But moving on, I think to me the humor comes from two people, and it's not Yuri, I will say. It comes from Victor,
Mhm.
absolutely, and his kind of shenanigans with Yuri.
Yeah.
But also I want to say Yurio.
Yeah.
Cause Yurio cause to me, I was dying because one Yurio's like all jealous of Yuri,
Yeah.
but it also brought me almost to tears when he showed up after the competition after I think Yuri qualified, right? And he gave him what was it? Was it like that meat? It was like a
Yeah. I know what
bread
you're
with
talking
meat in the
about.
middle. I forget the name of it. It was
Mhm.
like some Russian dish that was inspired
Yeah.
by Japanese or whatever, or similar to a Japanese dish, I guess. But
Yeah.
like, and the fact that he was like kind of like ribbing him, like, eat it, you know? Like Yurio
Mhm.
really does care for Yuri too, as much as he's upset that he kind of took Victor away from him, right?
Yeah.
Like he does really care for
No.
him, and they're like the sweetest
Yeah.
people. Like, oh, you can't help but love them.
Yeah, no, I think Yuri definitely adds like a level of like, it's humor because he's like a 16-year-old brat basically. Um as
Yeah.
all teenagers are. Teenagers are awful. Any teenager is awful. Even I as I was a 16-year-old was awful. But I think Yurio adds just such a level of like, like yeah, being a kid in this Olympic space is hard as fuck. Like this kid is going through it. And like, we see that with like his grandfather and stuff like that, and him like being away from home a lot and like being practicing all the time. Like, yeah, I think he had a right to be mad a little bit just because, like that was his mentor, and then like Yuri's just like, hey, um
I kind of swiped him away.
yeah, exactly, like unknowingly, but like he did. um but I think it's really important. Like I really like Yurio as a character. I think he's funny. He like his he's just an angry little guy. And sometimes you just need angry characters in your life, and like he's not angry as like like me, or like like he's an asshole, but he cares.
like he's a petty bitch that cares.
Yes, he has a petty bitch that cares. I live for that.
Yeah, and I mean, like, and to be fair, like, I think that, I mean, to your point where he's like young in this environment too. I also like the fact that and this is my favorite thing in anime, you'll have people who aren't, like, necessarily evil or assholes, they'll just, like, be kind of annoying, like, the protagonist or whatever, right?
Mhm.
But when anime takes that, like, idea of someone a character that's being kind of, like, annoying and gives them also something to kinda mess with them too, I think that's, like, one of my favorite, like, story tropes because in Yurio's case, he has a fan club of fangirls that keep pestering him to wear cat ears with them and take selfies with them, right? And pictures
Mhm.
with them, and I think that's just, like, the funniest thing is that he's kind of wrapped up in all this. So, on one hand,
Uh-huh.
he'll, like, be, like, kind of, like, tormenting Yuri a little bit, like, messing with Yuri, and on the other hand, he's being tormented by his fan base,
Yeah.
which I think is great. But also,
Mhm.
the way that well, one also I also love, and you kinda touched based on it, which is the c one, it's the older coach that was Victor's original, I think, right,
Oh,
coach?
Yakov?
And now
Yakov?
yeah,
I love Yakov.
Yurio's I think he's Yurio's coach now, right?
Mhm.
And then also, like, like, his grandfather, right? Yurio's grandfather. Like,
Mhm.
it's just great to have, like, older gentlemen just be supportive, you know? And
Mhm.
I think, like, what this show does great is that it basically, like, you look like at someone who's, like, this old grumpy man who's very stern, who looks like he'll kick your ass, and then they'll be like, if you really get to know them, they'll be, like, the sweetest people to, like, support
Yeah.
you, right? Or if they'll be mean, they'll just be honest for your own sake, like, they're being assholes for your own benefit, you know? Like, the older coach when Victor had to go back for that animal emergency, right? Because the dog
Yeah.
could have ended up poorly. Um, you learn that like he's like, "Oh, I need you to help, coach," and like he was like, of course, ribbing Yuri for all the missteps in sort of the competition. But it's all constructive feedback, you know? It's not like
Yeah.
he's just trying to be an asshole for I mean, he maybe a little bit, but you know what I mean, where it's not just trying to tear down Yuri. It's really for his own
Yeah.
benefit, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah, I think, Yakov, I think that's his name. I'm pretty
Yeah.
positive. I think his like any all the coaches, sans Victor, I think all the coaches in the show, like there's only featured like two, but like all of like the like supportive people in the show are so supportive to a fault. Like I think like Yuri's friend, sister, I think it's her sister, or maybe his cousin. I don't remember. I
I
haven't
think it was
rewatched the show.
Sister. I
I
wanna
haven't
say
rewatched the show
Sister.
in a little bit, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah, I haven't either,
Um,
it's been a hot minute.
yeah, but it's so, like, they're so supportive and, like, they just want them to do their best, and, like, yeah, like, Yakov is, like, kinda stern and kinda grumpy, but, like, he knows what he's talking about. Like, at the end of the day, like, a c like, the point of it is that he knows, like, it'll only make him improve, and I think that's, like, the point of, like, Yakov's characters being like, "Yeah, like, Victor's gone, but, like, this guy got him to gold, so, you know, he knows what he's talking about."
Mhm. Yeah, and it's, I don't know, it's just a great thing because it's, like, not really a lot of, not it's not really present in a lot of, I guess, sports anime to have sort of, all the coaches kind of be these great mentors because in a lot of sports anime, you also have to have the one that's very aggressive, the one that, hurts his players. But in reality, it's more along the lines of Yuri on Ice, where everyone's just trying to be supportive of each other, right?
Mhm.
And they just want sort of just to have a great competition. And I think although he was upset that also Victor left, retired for ice
Yeah.
skating for that little bit. Um I did appreciate how he still was able to look after Yuri, on Victor's
Mhm.
command like, orders, like, "Hey, please look after you know, student almost," right? Or
Mhm.
the athlete, and I really appreciated that, you don't really I love when you have, more diversity and more like, you introduce new things, because I genuinely believe that's what makes stories really great is when you can explore different things and really have characters become more nuanced than what they're written to be, you know? Have them feel like
Mhm.
actual people and make their motivations make sense. Um but yeah, what are your thoughts on I'm gonna like quickly pivot right now. What are your thoughts on, I will say, just the competition overall? Did you think the competition was handled well? What are your thoughts overall on that?
I think it's handled so well. Cause like, he had to go through the different stages. He had to go to, like, China for, like, the Grand Prix, like, opening event, and then, like, you go back to, like you went back to Russia, and then you do the Grand Prix final, and so, like, I think it's done so well, cause it takes you through, like he has to start from the bottom to get all the way up to, like, competing against, like, the best of the best.
Mhm.
Um, and we see a growth and development of Yuri, and I think that's really important because, like, he fucking wipes out. I think, I don't know which one it was. He wipes out. I think it's in China. He wipes out in fucking China during his free program.
Yeah.
But, like, he nails it for the Grand Prix final, and so, like, we see that growth and development of not even him as a character, but him as a skater.
Mhm. Yeah. And I also like that a lot of shows will be like you have to watch them beat opponents, right? As they
Uh huh.
escalate in power. So it's like a tournament bracket, right? But what I really appreciated about this is it's more like let's give our best performance and how do I stand out the most? It's not about beating a specific person, it's by showcasing
Mhm.
my art form as the best one there, right? For the judges.
Yeah.
And so when you see people's different performances, what I love, and you don't get this in a lot of shows, it's one, their dances are all unique. The
Mhm.
second, the songs are all unique. But I think the third one is their motivations for performing are all unique. And I think this is what I think is one of Yuri on Ice's strongest assets is that it focuses on these characters who one may be vying for a lover to take him back, right? Which poor
Mhm.
him. Um,
Yeah, that's rough.
that's rough, buddy.
That's rough,
And
buddy.
then the other could be like Yuri, who's just trying to gain Victor's like one prove that Victor deserves to be his mentor, that it wasn't a mistake, and to uphold his reputation, but also to love, but not in a romantic way. I don't know. That was kind of confusing for me. It's a romantic but not romantic love. It's like a different version of love that is similar, but it's different in form, right?
Yeah.
According to Yuri, I want to
Yeah.
make sure I have that right. It's like a
Yeah.
more complex version of love, but
Yes.
Yuri's trying to showcase that, and then Yurio is trying to prove that it was a mistake for Victor to choose Yuri over him, right?
Mhm.
So I love the fact that there's just so many like the mentality of these players go directly into their performance, how well they do, the anxieties they confront throughout, like both
Mhm.
before and during the performance. And I don't know, I just love that. Even like down to like you see Victor when he used to participate in these competitions in his youth, he met that kid. What's his name? Who's like the skater now with the blonde hair.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I don't remember the name
Yeah,
though.
so if you remember the blonde skater, like you see him
Yes.
as a kid and then Victor throws him a rose after one of his competitions and that gives him the inspiration to compete. And they actually end up competing on the like in the finals, right? That's what they said
Mhm.
together. Like to me that's so cool because you're seeing sort of like one, this is not like Yuri's world. This isn't Victor's world. It's just a world where ice skating exists, and these are the players within it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. But yeah, so like for me, and I don't know if you may think differently. I think um, it was an interesting decision to do the frame rate the way it does because it can look choppy.
Mhm.
Like for me, I was when I first watched this show, it kind of threw me off because I'm not used to that. Because let's be honest, I was a shonen kid. I watched a lot of things with
Boo.
smooth animation,
Boo.
with things that
Boo.
unrealistic body proportions.
Bleh.
Like
Sorry.
like you'll have people like bending over and like fighting, and it's not grounded in reality. It's very much like humans cannot do that to their bodies. Let's be honest here. So it took me a while to get used to sort of like the frame rate, I guess is the way you describe it, slash
Yeah.
like the speed of motion for the skaters. And it only took me a little bit, but eventually I think I came around to it. Um and I was able to sort of appreciate it for what it was, and that is like to really mimic sort of a real life skater's movements and to make it seem
Mhm.
grounded, you have to do the rate that they did. And so now I'm more appreciative of the style they chose rather than looking at it as bad because it's not conventional, you know?
Yeah.
Like what are your
No,
thoughts on that? Yeah.
I think, like, the conventionality of it, like, yeah, like, the skaters put, like, their bodies basically through, like, all this, like, training and stuff, like, you have to do like, it's ballet, it's, like, really physical, you have to have, like, a strong core and stuff like that. I think like, body-wise, like, yeah, all this and also all the skaters, like, you can see they're animated differently, they're built differently. They're built different, um, but they're all like proportioned differently and like you see that because like the 16-year-old doesn't look like the 25-year-old, which is
Mhm,
something what we usually don't see in shonen. Like usually a 16-year-old looks like a 25-year-old, and that's scary as fuck. um it's interesting to like see.
mhm. Yeah. And also, like, talking about anime styles, like, Yuri on Ice is very, very unique.
Hmm.
I would say, when it comes to, I would say their animation, like, if you look at MAPPA now and what they're doing with, like, Attack on Titan and Chainsaw Man, and then you look back on Yuri Ice, very different art styles.
Yeah,
Like, you can
you're
look
exactly
and
right.
I really appreciate that because for me, when it comes to shows, I need some variation. When I look at the animation of a show, I should be able to point out what show it's from. So if I
Yeah.
look at, say, JoJo's Bizarre Adventures and Yuri on Ice, I'm able to tell them apart completely, right? Because they're so
Mm-hmm.
distinct. Now, if I take more of a generic show, like some of the isekais that have been coming out recently, or some of the shonen shows that I'm sorry, I'm an isekai junkie, but I have to say it. If you look at all these shows that have been coming out, a good majority of them look like the same
Uh-huh.
show. Like like there's something great about having a distinctive art style and
Yeah.
sort of um and I don't know, I'm just a big fan of that. So when looking at Yuri on Ice, it falls into that category where I'm able to pick that apart from hundreds of shows. And
Yeah.
I just love that.
Yeah, no, I think it really sets itself apart. And moving on to the big topic, which is the representation for LGBTQ people.
Wait, there's
Because we have.
representation?
Oh my God, did you not know?
See, I thought they were all straight.
What do you believe that?
I mean, I mean, he just kissed him. It's just
I know.
the
You just
homies
don't
supporting
sometimes
each
don't you
other.
just don't you just sometimes kiss your homies on the
Yeah.
mouth after they do a really good job figure skating? Because I do. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. Um, no, like in 2016, like it was like a huge thing. Like there was so much speculation. Like according to my sibling, there was like a lot of speculation. Like this whole like kiss scene was like a huge thing in episode 7. Like it's such like a whole thing, and then like the ending of it, like where they give each other rings and stuff, or where Yuri gives him
Yeah,
a
and
ring.
then they're
Um,
like marriage. He comes up,
yeah,
right?
it's
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 big.
it's basically it's basically it's basically getting engaged. They got engaged basically. But like yeah, like it's like a whole thing, and like at the end of the show, like Yuri decides to like go with Victor back to Russia to like stay with him and like train and stuff, and like that's like a huge thing. Um, I think the show does like representation really well because a lot of like Yaoi and Yuri aren't great in
Call them
terms
out.
of
Call them
like
out. Do it now.
it's
Call
not
them out.
great. Okay, great. It's not great in terms of like, being like realistic and like, you know, not being fucking creepy. A lot of yaoi's fucking creepy. Hate it.
Love Stage
And
isn't
like
that bad.
It is. Even Yuri, even some of the Yuri stuff is just like, ugh, it's not great. But like, I think that Yuri on Ice was important for a lot of like, especially like like teens becoming young adults, like that, like 16 to 18 bracket. This show was so important to a lot of people because it showed LGBTQ plus themes in such a positive light. Like, yeah, these guys, they're living their lives and they formed a real connection, based on anything fucking weird. Like, like it was a mutual connection. Like, yeah, he got drunk, whatever, but like Victor didn't like do anything fucking weird to him. Like, he like clearly Yuri had no idea that he did this, and like that's how Victor became his coach. And like it's oh god, it's such a good and like, yeah, there's gonna be some like backlash from it. There was backlash from it, um in terms of like why, like, what basically it was like a whole thing of like, are they queer baiting us or something like that, because queer baiting is a really big thing in animation and just like
Yeah.
in TV and movies in general. Queer baiting is such a big thing.
Mhm.
Even nowadays it's so fucking bizarre. um but like, yeah, everyone was like, is this queer baiting, is this like, it's a lot in the subtext. I wish it was just like out in the public and out in the front. And like, there was a lot of things about it, but that really was the only criticism it got. But like, you know it 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 took something that's like you not talked about that much, and like, it gave it like a real love. And like, both of these characters come from, countries that like don't really support LGBT like q like issues. So like Russia and Japan, they
Mhm.
don't really have like talking real world for a second, they're not very LGBTQ friendly.
Mhm.
um and so, it I think representation, no matter where you can get it from, is, I think, any positive, representation of LGBTQ is such an important thing for a lot of young people. And I think that's what the show was, is what it was important. Like, yes, it was a good show, it told a good story, like all the characters are really good, but like at the end of the day, you can boil it down to, it was really like touching and heartwarming. And like, you see this guy like kind of come out of his shell, and like it was it was great. And like,
Mhm.
we want to see that happen, and he was able to do it with someone he trusts.
Mhm. Yeah, no, it was great. Just like the fact that, you know, one, it wasn't creepy to your point because I've seen a lot, and
I
out of
have
see,
to.
what's funny, the at least like in terms of source material, like light novels and manga, there are a lot that
Mhm.
do it well. There's only one problem: the ones that get adapted aren't those. So it's like very rare that you'll have one that is very good like Yuri on Ice, right?
Mhm.
Like I mean, I told you I love. I mean, I don't love it. I enjoyed it. If I'm gonna be completely honest, which is Citrus and Love Stage, and I
Ugh,
know you
citrus.
despise those.
Not citrus. Ah.
A whole nother conversation, yeah. But like it to me, I don't hate it because it's LGBT. I hate it because it's incest or
It's
creepy or
fucking
predatory.
fucking creepy.
There's different things that's preventing these shows from being great. And so when Yuri on Ice like presents this healthy relationship, like I'm glad that I'm able to sort of see representation because I feel like you know well more like if you really get to showcase, I guess, more of reality, more of what people actually are like, instead of pretending that they're not there, right? That's the
Mhm.
whole point of representation. So seeing this unfold in Yuri on Ice, I think, is amazing because, like, although I am not part of the LGBT community, I am an ally. I can say that, right?
You're an ally,
I'm an
yes.
ally.
As
Thank you. I got certified.
as
Cool.
as as the LGBTQ person in this call, you are an ally,
Yes, thank you.
Theorius.
Thank you, thank you. But as an ally, because it's very different because I don't have firsthand experience. I'm looking more from an outsider's perspective. I'm glad I'm seeing this. And you're
Mhm.
seeing it more and more in media, but to your point too, it is also a lot of it is queer baiting. So
Mhm.
it's tough to finally get something that works, and I think Yuri on Ice is one of those exceptions where it proves against the rule that this not only is not queer baiting, but it's also like a healthy LGBT relationship too. Like,
Mhm.
I also know there's a couple like isn't Given another one?
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah,
Given also I think has its like fair share of issues just because like some of it is a little like sus, but like the main like story between the two high schoolers, like it's great.
yeah.
Love it. 10 out of 10. But everyone else, like the adults in that show fucking suck. Sorry. If anybody like likes, I like Given, so if anybody that likes Given is listening to this, I am so sorry, but the adults in that show fucking suck. But I love them with all my heart. Hope they get therapy.
Hope they get therapy.
Hope
Yeah,
they get therapy, even though they're fucking fictional.
even though they're fictional. Yeah, but like for me, it's like all I want in like a good show is just to sort of be given someone's perspective that is different from my own, that I can sort of learn through the story that they're telling, right? This is me trying to understand like the larger world in front of me. And that the way you do that is by telling stories that aren't shown,
Mhm.
right? That people aren't familiar with. And like it's unfortunate that, a lot of it boils down to just not a great execution, right? Like there's lots of creepy elements to these shows, and like it sucks that there's like a lot more like I would say more straight shows, right?
Mhm.
Like it's weird when the animators slash creators make like shows with straight characters, a lot of them are normal, right? Healthy relationships. But for some reason, you go over to the LGBT stuff and they just have to add some creepy factor to them, right?
Oh yeah.
It's
No,
so it's so bizarre to me. It's like just
that's
treat
how
them
it
the
is.
same. They're just both healthy relationships, you know?
Yeah. I think that's like really because like I collect a fair share of LGBTQ like manga and like light novels and stuff like that. Like that's like one of my things that I really like to collect. There's so many like good stories out there that could be adapted and like they're so important and like they're not getting adapted and I think that's so fucking rude of them to not adapt these stories because they are important. Like I picked up one not to like get on a tangent, but I'm gonna go on a little tangent.
Go ahead.
Um I picked up one that was, like, about a guy that, like, lost his job and he came home he had to come back to, like, his parents' house and, like, he met this, like they're both, fully grown adults, like, 25-year-old, like, fully grown adults. But, like, it just talked about him, like, starting his whole life over and, like, them building a relationship. It was so beautifully done, and it could be such a good anime, and they're not adapting it, and it's so upset. Even, like, a 2 episode, like, mini, like, thing, like kind of what they do with like Burn the Witch. I think that'd be
Mhm.
amazing, but they don't do it because they hate me. Um, but no, I think Yuri on Ice holds a special place in a lot of people's hearts, including my own, just because of one, it's just such an amazing show. It's such a well done show. Um, I frequently like I listen to like a lot of the music is on my own like playlists and stuff, and so like it holds such a special place in my heart. Um, and also it's really important for a lot of like a lot of people growing up. Like, um, I remember my sibling telling me about the show when I was like 16 because they were in college at that point. And they were like, "Well, you should watch it," and I was like, "I should, but I'm busy." Because I was a high schooler and I had a life. But like, as a young person, like especially like nowadays, like now we get more representation, but in back in 2016, gay marriage was like a new thing that was coming out, and like being gay wasn't like a bad thing anymore. Like you could be yourself, and that's really important to a lot of people because it was horribly stigmatized for a, a horribly long time, and like it still is. But I can see it getting better. I mean, current not in laws. No, the laws here suck so much. Um, but like I think socially, and not politically, but socially, like for a lot of young people, like it's starting to change more and more because we are more open minded. And that's my stance on the just LGBTQ issues, I guess, in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I went on a tangent. It's fine.
It's
Whatever.
it's a good tangent. Anyways, any last thoughts on Yuri on Ice?
I wish the movie would come out. Fuck Mappa for not giving it to me, those bitches. If you haven't seen the show, what are you doing? Go watch it. It literally takes it'll only take a little bit of time because they're only like 23-minute
It only
episodes,
takes
so
6
go watch
hours.
it. It only takes 6 hours. It's honestly such a vibe.
Yep.
Um, Go watch it. 10 out of 10. Other than that, yes. Support your LGBTQ friends. Thank you and good night.
Yes. So thank you everyone for listening in. I really appreciate it. People on Twitch and YouTube.
Ooh,
Um,
YouTube.
yeah, no, this goes directly onto YouTube. I just
Oh,
moved this over. What?
oh, nice. Oh,
It
shit.
it's really nice.
I didn't know that.
I literally just end stream and then I can just export it from here and it takes 10 minutes instead of 12 hours.
That's so cool. I
I
love it.
know, right? It's so convenient and so that's why I'm doing it
So
more.
convenient.
But I want to thank again Kirbo Turbo for coming on. You can go check them out at Kirbo Turbo on TikTok. They make some pretty cool
TikTok.
TikToks. They have a ton of likes and great content over there. So
Talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's my fucking that's my content right now. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan content.
yeah.
So
So go support them. Also thank you again guys for supporting me this entire time. I just hit 100 subscribers, which was
yay,
insane
happy
today.
100. Woo!
I know, and I'm already past 100. They're insane. I'm at 103 now. It's
Oh my
crazy.
god. Are you the next Markiplier?
Oh no. Oh god.
Holy shit.
Please, please,
Found
please,
him.
please. I wish I could be Markiplier. I'm not reaching that. No. No siree. I'm nowhere
Never
close.
say never. Never say never. You
See,
never know what
Markiplier's
will
one of a
happen.
kind. I could never be him. He's perfect. I'm a
That's
little bit
fair.
flawed. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. We want the Yuri on Ice movie. Hopefully we get an announcement
Hopefully we get an
sometime in the
announcement.
future
We
when we
won't,
would
but it's
get it.
okay.
We can. I'm hopium. Hopium. I'm gonna hope that we are.
Oh, you're on your
But
hopium mark.
I'm in my hopium mark. Please, at least hopefully we get a movie. So thanks for watching. Thanks, Turbo Turbo. Peace.